In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. If you want to engage live in the content, you got to go follow me over on Instagram Live. I'm at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live in the content, just like all these people coming in right now. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for being here today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live, though, you can still watch it for up to 24 hours on Instagram. But after 24 hours, it does disappear. So we house all the past episodes of this show in archived form over on YouTube. Type in a keyword search Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show is in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants, we're going to continue what we started in the last episode. So if you missed my episode from earlier today, go back and watch it on replay on Instagram Live. Go back and watch it on YouTube. I already have the one from this morning posted on YouTube, so go to JimmyRants.com. It should be the very first video embedded on JimmyRants.com. And you'll see that I have laid down a challenge to the keto community. I want to see as many of you as possible go on a water fasting challenge. So yes, I have 2 months left before I go away, but it doesn't mean my work has stopped yet. So I'm challenging you guys, if you've never tried fasting before, try it. If you've tried fasting before and you've gone 48 hours, 72 hours, try it. Because I think when you do it corporately together with other people and you have a personality like myself who can encourage you and give you tips along the way, it helps make you successful. So I want to be that for you guys. And this challenge is technically starting on Friday, July the 5th, 2019. Now, if you're watching this after July 5th, or if you're choosing not to participate in this 7 days, it's all good. Use these videos as a resource on the replay. So if you're watching this in another month besides July, early July, then that's okay. The information we share still applies to whenever you would decide to do an extended fast. And so we're doing a 7-day water and salt only fast. So what I want to talk about in this video, and it's a series of videos, the next few episodes will all be about this same subject of water fasting for 7 days. I want to prepare you for it. So what we're talking about specifically on this one is the do's and the don'ts of an extended fast, aka how to survive going 7 days without eating. Because just the very mention of not eating for 7 days makes people's heads explode. And so I want to demystify this. Now, for the record, I am the author of a book all about fasting called The Complete Guide to Fasting. I co-authored this with Dr. Jason Fung. This is available in paper form, which is what this is. Also Kindle and other ebook forms. And then I read the Audible audiobook version of the book as well. All of those are available right now on Amazon. You could probably get The Complete Guide to Fasting pretty much wherever you find books. But get that book because it'll definitely help reinforce a lot of these things that we're talking about in these Jimmy Rants videos. So people have these negative connotations as it relates to fasting. And a lot of them are born out of a whole lot of nothing. A lot of it is just fear for fear's sake. It doesn't really have anything that is grounded in. And we're going to talk about in another video some of the myths that are out there about fasting and busting those myths. That'll be a fun one to do. But today, the do's and don'ts of extended fasting. So the first one I will talk about is a do. Do go into it confident that you're going to succeed. I think a lot of times people try fasting and they think, okay, I've heard of all the good stuff, but I'm just apprehensive that you're not going to succeed. You're not. You've got to be in a good, positive mindset here. And if you're not, please don't fast. And it's okay to tell yourself that. If you're not ready mentally, because it is a mental challenge to go into something like doing a 7-day fast, if you're not prepared mentally for the challenge that is before you, especially if you've never done any fasting, then don't psych yourself out about it. What you want to do is come into it with happy thoughts. Come into it with a good mindset. Come into it with the mantras of I will succeed and I will do the best that I can. And there's something amazing biochemically that happens when you have that positive mindset. It calms all those hunger hormones that would probably destroy you. I can tell you when I've been in the midst of a fast, the biggest thing that has sabotaged me more than anything else is some kind of a concern or worry that popped up that caused stress in my life. So I remember I was on a day 12 of a 21-day fast one time. Day 12, I'm rolling on fasting. And I got a phone call that was very disturbing. I don't even remember what the disturbing news was, but it was something extremely disturbing. And my stomach immediately started growling. So do put yourself in a good mindset. Do set yourself up for winning, not failing. Something else I want you to do. I want you to go into it with a full stomach. So somebody earlier when I was doing this Jimmy Rants kind of introducing the challenge, they're like, should I cut back on the day before a fast? I'm like, why would you cut back? What you want to do is, since the day before this fast begins, it's the 4th of July. I want you to eat as much fatty barbecue as you possibly can stick in your mouth, because you want to get into that fast in a very well keto adapted state. Now, do you have to be keto to go on an extended fast? No, you don't. But you do want to try to be keto adapted because it does make it a whole lot easier. And I mentioned earlier on the Jimmy Rants that one of the things that's been really interesting about me doing keto carnivore in 2019 is I can fast pretty easily on an intermittent basis. So if you're not already to the point where 16 to 18, maybe 24 hours is pretty darn easy for you to be fasting, maybe you sit this out until you nail that first. So what I do want you to do is to eat before you start. It seems duh, but you'd be surprised how many people say, well, I'll back off because I'm about to eat nothing. No, do eat a great meal on Thursday. I can guarantee you now, Jimmy Moore is going to be stuffing his mouth with some kind of barbecue or hamburger or steak or something on Thursday before this fast. And then when the fast begins, it's game on. You want those fats and those proteins to satiate you. And I'm not on don't yet. Let's stick to do. I want to stick to all the positive things first. The next thing, do have encouragement. And so what you're going to do is come on here on these Jimmy Rants. I'm going to pop on twice a day to give you guys encouragement that are doing this. As of now, we now have 1,300 people who have said they want to be a part of this fast. So they're spread across all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. They're all pouring in now that they want to do this fast together. So lean on these videos that I'm doing, lean on each other. And definitely if you're going to talk about this on your social media, and I encourage you to do that, definitely use the hashtag water fasting challenge. That way you can find each other through that hashtag. So look up water fasting challenge hashtag. Be sure when you post about it, you also use water fasting challenge as the hashtag. But do find that encouragement and support during this, because I think people trying to do something like this on their own, it just becomes overwhelming and people get in their own heads. And so if you're in your own head, if you're having trepidations about this, what better than to have someone talk you off the ledge who's also going through the exact same thing. Now keep in mind, Jimmy Moore is also going to be going through this fast in real time the same. And so if that's going to happen, then I'm going to be here for you guys. And I will do my best if you direct message me to help you in any way that I can. But come on here, because this is where I'm going to be offering that encouragement. All right, what else do you need to do? I don't think you need to overthink this in the slightest. Just go. Have you ever just done that? Just dove right into something? Just, okay, I'm a little bit to the point where I just don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to go. And it's going to take a little bit of faith, a little bit of trust in the process, and that can be scary for a lot of people. So do lean on your knowledge about fasting that hopefully you've learned from my book, right? So as I mentioned earlier, you also do want to make sure you have a quality salt on hand. So if you don't already have some kind of salt, and I highly recommend this one, Redmond's Real Salt. So you could probably get this on Amazon, but look it up, Redmond's Real Salt. It's a really good one when you're going to do a fast. And I also just picked up at KetoCon some of these fasting drops. So this is concentrated forms of sodium and magnesium from the Keto Chow people. Go to Keto Chow, JimmyLovesKetoChow.com, and they'll give you 10% off if you put LLVLC. But those help as well in the midst of it. So this you put like in your water, that helps to give you some of those extra electrolytes. And then this can kind of help, the real salt, Redmond's Real Salt, can help you feel some satiation in the midst of doing a fast. So if you're just joining us, you guys, I am talking about the upcoming challenge that I have issued out there. I'm putting out a challenge to all of you that want to kind of kickstart your keto and you want to kind of challenge yourself in a new way. One of the best ways to do that is a water and salt only challenge. And that's what I'm doing. So water fasting challenge, hashtag. So if you're going to talk about this, definitely put that out there so we can find each other. But we are talking about in this video the do's and the don'ts of an extended fast, aka how you're going to survive this 7 days. All right, let's switch gears to the don'ts. Don't worry. Can I tell you how many people start fasting and they just completely worry, irrationally so, I believe. Worry about everything. You name it. What are you worried about? Losing muscle. Oh, I'm gonna lose muscle. We're going to address that myth in another video. They're worried, and one person's already articulated this, worried, my family's going to think I have an eating disorder. My family's going to not understand why I'm not eating dinner with them. Don't do that. Now that specific one, by the way, you can make you like a little salt and water soup and eat at the table just like everybody else with the salt and the water. Nobody's any the wiser that mama's having her soup. Don't think that you're all alone in this. And I'm going to repeat this often because the reason I'm doing this corporately as a challenge, openly like this, is I want you to feel you're a part of something pretty special and pretty big, because this is going to play a significant role in your life. I told you I'm gearing up to go away for 6 months. So during my sabbatical, one of the things I'm going to do is alternate week fasting. So I'm doing 7 days of fasting during my sabbatical, followed by 7 days of meat, water, and salt only, followed by 7 days of fasting, meat, water, salt, 7 days of fasting, as long as it takes. And through that, I'm hoping to bring about the healing that de-stressing also will take place. Anyway, so that's why I'm issuing this challenge now. I'm trying to gear up, getting into that mode of doing a week-long fast. And so many of you, 1,300 of you, have decided to join me on this so far. And so I'm trying to help you guys get in the right mindset, because if you haven't done a fast for this long before, it'll start playing mind games with you. So don't allow that to happen. Definitely start reading up on all the resources that you can. All right, what else? Don't fall for the trick and the lie that you have to have something to consume. That was a mistake that I made, you guys. I thought I needed bone broth and kombucha and all of these things. Don't. What I found is when I had bone broth and when I had kombucha, it actually did something very bad that made it very hard to fast for a long time. It was hunger. It stoked hunger. And so you don't want to be stoking hunger when you're trying to fast. So don't do that. Now, when we get into the midst of this and I'm in the day-to-day with you guys doing updates, I will tell you how to deal with periods of hunger that come and go, how to deal with those momentary feelings that you're hungry. It's usually not hunger. It's usually electrolyte imbalance, thirst, and that kind of thing. But don't think you have to have all these crutches. And I know there's popular diet books out there that talk about a bone broth fast and, doing this and that. But that's not fasting. When you're fasting, I need you to fast. And fast means no calories. Fast means try to keep the things that you consume to a minimum. Now, I'm calling this a water and salt only fast. If you want black coffee and you like that during a fast, then please use black coffee. If you want to use seltzer water that's not sweetened with anything and it's just seltzer water, okay, that's still water, so please use that. But don't think that you have to have some kind of something to consume. You really don't. What else should you don't do? So don't tell people you're doing it. I know you so bad want to go, hey, look at me, I'm not eating, and they're just going to look at you like a freak clown. Don't tell anybody in your life that you're actually fasting, because the last thing you want to do is bring on ridicule and scorn. It's like the lady who wrote me earlier and said, how do I explain to my family that I'm fasting? And I go, you don't. You don't say anything to them. And if they bring up something about you not eating, you'd say, oh, I'm not hungry. It's none of their business what you choose to do about your health. And so don't tell anyone, coworkers, family, maybe your close family, maybe like your spouse or whatever, but don't tell people that you're doing this. And I know one friend in my life who recently did a 3-day fast, and this person had the mom tell her that she has an eating disorder because she's choosing to fast for a period of time. So you don't want to bring on that kind of stress in your life, not when you're trying to do something proactively good for your health. So don't tell people that you're doing this. So those are some of the do's and don'ts that kind of came to mind. I definitely want to see what questions you have about what you should do or what you don't do. So please write those in the comment section below. And I'm going to scroll back to the top. Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for being here today on this fasting edition of Jimmy Rants. We're going to be doing this, guys, over the next 2 weeks. All of this week leading up to the fast starting on July the 5th. And then we're going to have 7 full days of the fasting. And when the fasting is over, I'll still be around the next couple of days to kind of help reacclimate you into eating again and what that looks like. We got all that covered for you guys, and it's coming up here over the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Ann. God bless you as well. Thanks for being here. All right. Jay Ray says, I'm fasting today. Somebody's trying to get ahead of the schedule. That's awesome. Ann says, hashtag water fasting. I'm in. Yes, water fasting challenge. AK Bonbon, I would definitely try it, but the timing is, for me, My son and daughter-in-law will be visiting for a week. The timing's bad for you, I think is what you meant to say. So that's okay. Go back and reference these videos. The information I'm sharing in these videos is still going to be relevant for that time when you are ready. And just let me say this. I said it in the earlier video, but it bears repeating. If this is not right for you, don't fast. Don't think, well, because Jimmy Moore is putting out a public call for you to go on a fast, that you should feel compelled to do it. No, if you don't feel that this is something you're ready for, then don't do it. I say if you're not keto adapted, get keto adapted. If you're keto adapted and you're not quite doing intermittent fasting of at least 16 to 18 hours, don't do this until you do get used to 16 to 18 hours of fasting. If you're already fasting for up to 24 hours, give this a go. And if you don't make 7 days, that's okay. You're going to make 3 days. That'll be great. It'll be the longest fast you ever do. If you already fast 2 to 3 days, you should be able to get pretty darn close to 7. And if you've gone more than 3 days, you definitely can do 7. So don't think just because I'm issuing this challenge that everybody watching this needs to do it. Caden Fox says, I figured out how to see you live on Instagram. Yeah, you were one of the ones on my Facebook page that said, hey, you're going to do these on Facebook. And I'm like, I'm only on Instagram with this. But thank you. I'm glad you figured it out. Got my Redmond's Real Salt on Amazon, says Nancy. So yes, this, you guys, will be your lifeblood when you are fasting. Whenever you have those moments of hunger, and I'm doing it in air quotes because a lot of times hunger, you hear a growl in your stomach and you call it hunger. It's actually not hunger. It's usually one of two things. You have low electrolytes, and so your body's trying to give you a signal that you need to give it electrolytes, which in this case is sodium, but with the fasting drops from Keto Chow, it's concentrated sodium and magnesium. Between those two things, you're going to get some great micronutrition. And then the other thing that you're usually, when you hear the gurgles in your stomach during a fast, is water. You're dehydrated. So if you water up and salt up and electrolyte up, you should be able to ward off a lot of the so-called signs that you're hungry. What about Perrier water? Yeah, I believe that's soda water, right? That's just sparkling water. So that's perfectly fine, Ann. I only have the original Keto Chow drops. Is that okay? Is that the electrolyte drops? They're pretty good, but the guys at Keto Chow actually formulated this particular version, the fasting drops, specifically for people fasting, because when you're fasting, think about what's happening. You're dumping glycogen stores. Think of it as keto on acid. So when you eat keto, low carb, moderate protein, high fat, it makes you dump the electrolytes and the sugar and the water all in your body. Well, when you're not eating anything at all, that process gets sped up really fast. So you dump all of those things. So you want the sugar out, but you have to replenish the water, and you definitely need to be replenishing the electrolytes. If you start to feel fatigued while you're in the midst of a fast, it's electrolytes. If you start to get a headache in the midst of a fast, it's electrolytes and dehydration. If you start to have any signs that you don't feel well, affectionately it's called the keto flu in the keto world, but you could call it the fasting flu too, because you get a lot of those same symptoms that are a clear sign that you are electrolyte and water deficient. So I want you to have your water ready, and I want you to have your salt ready, and I want you to have, whatever tools it takes to be ready for this. Guys, prepare in advance for what's about to happen. If you're going to embark on a 7-day fast, can I just tell you, you're a hero in my book, because most people in their lifetime have never gone more than 24 hours without eating. Most, like 99% of the people, definitely in America, have never gone more than 24 hours without eating. So if you go over that, you should celebrate. And I want you to have that mindset of, okay, I'm going to shoot for 7. That's what I want to do. And we'll be here to help you along the way, to kind of answer questions, to kind of fine tune it so you get there. But if you make it 3 days and you've never done 3 days before, I want you to celebrate. Do celebrate the fact that you're doing something that is unprecedented in humans, modern humans. Ancient humans, they all did this. This was normal. This was natural. This whole idea that we have to constantly be feeding ourselves is a very modern thing. One thing that I've learned doing so many of these fasts, I'm definitely going to touch on this more in a future Jimmy Rants, is the whole notion that all of this requirement that we're supposed to be eating so much, when you go on a 7-day fast and you actually fulfill it, even if you can make it to 3 days, and you actually fulfill not eating for a period of time, you realize just how little food we actually need. Seems so weird. Well, you have to eat to live, and you do. But if you let your body have these periods of fasting, there's so much good that takes place. And we're going to do a whole episode just on the benefits that come from doing a fast of this length. Caden says, don't panic. That's a good one. Don't panic at all. Panic, to me, is stress. And the very last thing, I hope this is loud and clear, guys. If you got stuff going on in your life right now, please don't fast. If you got like major events happening, the death of a parent, death of a child, a divorce you're going through, money issues that have just gotten you so depressed, please do not do this 7-day fast, because you're not mentally prepared for it. And I need you to think of all that stress as if you're eating a whole bunch of carbs in the midst of trying to fast. It ain't good. I need you to fast. And when you're stressed, you're actually eating carbs. You got to look at it that way. Ann says our mind plays tricks on us to scare us. Yeah. And a lot of those, I get them. Trust me, I had all those same fears about fasting back in the day. Obviously, now I know better. I joined a great man on this book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, to help explain and calm some of those fears that people have. And the fears are truly irrational when you stop and think about what you're scared of. There's really nothing to be scared about fasting. What you need to be scared of is feasting too much. And for most of the American population, feasting on the wrong things I call food-like disease agents, all the crappy garbage. Cookie GW says, I'm just jumping in. When does this start? July the 5th, this Friday, July the 5th. Technically, it'll be the last meal that you have on the 4th of July. So when you stuff your belly chock full of hamburgers and barbecue and whatever you're having on the 4th of July, that begins your fast. That very last meal on the 4th of July. So when I eat my meal, and I'll have one meal on the 4th of July. When I have my one meal on the 4th of July, I will pop on Jimmy Rants and I will say, okay, guys, it's begun for me. And one by one, all of you guys will join me and we'll all be on this journey together for that next 7 days. And will there be a group? Yes, right here on Jimmy Rants. So my Instagram Live, I will be on twice a day. All the way through the fast. And so come on and you'll get your encouragement in real time. I'll answer your questions in real time. And this will be your go-to. Now, people that don't follow me on Instagram Live, it actually will be posted on YouTube. I'm also going to try to post the links to the videos on Facebook, but they can't engage necessarily live there with it. Unfortunately, the only place I can do it because I am away from home right now is on my Instagram Live. So this is where the group will be. AK Bonbon said, yes, bone broth made me so much more hungry. You would think having something nourishing and healthy and real food wouldn't do that, but I think it's the protein in it, in bone broth, that stokes that hunger. So it's better to have 0 calories than to have just a little bit of calories, because here's what I think happens. Your body sees the little bit of calories, 50, 100, 200 calories coming from bone broth, and then it says, okay, we're getting food. Okay, we're not getting any more food. And so you're fooling your body into thinking it's a feasting day because you're stoking that feasting time when it's not feasting time, it's fasting time. So it's why I love the whole idea of when you're feasting, feast. I mean, you got to eat enough calories. You got to get the proper low carb, moderate protein, high fat nutrition into your body. So when it's go time to eat, especially July the 4th, you eat, eat, eat. But when you make this switch and you start fasting, you need to fast, fast, fast. So when you feast, feast. When you fast, fast. And that makes it a lot easier. And trust me, guys, this has come from a lot of wisdom over the years of doing these fasts. I have tried it with the kombucha. I have tried it with the bone broth. I've tried all these little things. And the way that I feel the best on a fast is water, salt, and electrolytes. You do those three things and you go into it in a very well ketogenic state, keto adapted state, then you are setting yourself up for success. Kimberly says, my spouse is wanting to do it with me for encouragement. That's a good man. Tell that boy, attaboy, because I think this is cool. And I loved it. Redmond's Real Salt recently did an open 3-day challenge to some members of the keto community. They didn't ask Jimmy Moore, I guess, because 3 days is too easy. But these guys were all doing it and doing it together. And a lot of the people that have a spouse invited their spouse to do it. So I mentioned earlier, keto coach Lauren did, and her husband Tyler both did a 3-day fast. The longest Lauren had gone was 48 hours, and she made it 72 hours. The longest Tyler had ever gone is 24 hours, and he made it 72 hours. So if you make it longer than any other fast you've ever done, it's a win, guys. It's a win. So don't think you're going to fail if you don't make the 7 days. So Kimberly, for you and your husband, I think it's great that you're doing this together, and keep that perspective that if at any moment it becomes too much, you end the fast. Of course, you've got me on speed dial if you need me. So it starts July the 5th. That's right, Cookie. Val says, planning to start Wednesday. We have a camp out reunion starting the 11th. Yeah, make it work for you. I mean, I know some people will be starting late. I'm starting it on the 5th, and some people are like, well, I've got plans all the way through the 8th, so I'll start the 8th. That's fine. You start when you want to start. In fact, you probably have a leg up on everybody if you start a little bit later, because by then you will have seen all the videos from the first few days of how it's going and seeing some of the common concerns and questions that come up. So that'll be to your advantage when you start day 1 and everybody else is in day 4. You can see all the things that they went through so you can be ready for them. Cookie says, for 7 days, I've done a 4 day, so I'm excited to try it. If you've done 4, you're going to make 7. I can almost bet that'll definitely happen. CKS, after the fast has been my biggest struggle. We're going to hit that one hard. And probably closer to the end of the fast is when I'll start talking about how you end the fast, because this should not be a hard thing. And people worry about this refeeding syndrome, and it is a real concern if you end your fast bad. I will be here, you guys. I hope I've made that loud and clear, that I'm not going anywhere. I'm doing this with you. I'm going to show you on camera all the things that I'm doing and all the feelings that I have. And then I'm also going to impart some wisdom, having done so many of these now, to make it easier for you. So don't worry about that. Just have those questions ready when the time comes. I started a 55-hour fast, says Caden, before the group coaching was offered. Well, you're ahead of the schedule then, Caden. Rescue Gal says, I've yet to try OMAD. Maybe I'll do that for the week. I think that's a good goal. If you want to eat OMAD, for those of you that don't know the lingo, OMAD stands for 1 meal a day. And it's basically getting all of your food into your body in one singular meal. Jimmy Moore does this pretty much on a regular basis. I eat generally 1 meal a day, somewhere around 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's usually a crap load of food. So like recently, when I was at the KetoCon in Austin, Texas, I was right across the street from this really nice barbecue joint called Terry Black's. And my meal, every single meal when I was at KetoCon, all I had was Terry Black's. And what did I order? 1 pound of fatty brisket. And that's literally all I ate every single day. I got in on the Thursday, pound of fatty brisket. Got in on the Friday in the middle of the conference for lunch, fatty brisket. Saturday before I left, fatty brisket. That's it. That's what I had. And my Redmond's real salt was right there too. Adds a little bit of a boost to it. So let's not make this hard, guys. OMAD, if you've never done that before, maybe this is your opportunity to do that. It's definitely different than doing a constant 7-day extended fast. But if you've never done even OMAD, that's definitely a good schedule to do, Rescue Gal. So thanks for that. Hello, Tracy. Speaking of Redmond's Real Salt, I'm pimping your product today, Tracy, for this fast that's coming up. Definitely think everybody should get some Redmond's because it will help you through this fast. Caden says, I can do 20 hours pretty easy, 36 with some commitment, and over 50 if I remember to salt and magnesium myself right. Well, Caden, we are here for you. I will give you all those reminders in all these fasting videos here on Jimmy Rants. I promise you. Why are you in your car? But it's because I'm traveling and I don't have a convenient place to do these. So it is what it is. Everybody wonders about the car. Get over the car. Just thank you for supporting Real Salt and Keto Chow. Yeah, you guys are good companies. Happy to do that. All right, so Cookie wants to know, can you exercise on a fast? So that's a great question, Cookie. Thank you for that. And we're talking about do's and don'ts on an extended fast. Can I encourage you on an extended fast of 7 days? I want you to view it as if you are going through physical therapy to recover from an injury. What's the injury? Your metabolism is a little out of whack. I want you to think of it that way. So if you're going into this as therapy, would you, in the midst of therapizing some part of your body outside of the therapy itself, would you go to the gym and work out? Nope, you wouldn't. So in the midst of a fast, you don't need to be doing any kind of glycolytically demanding workout. I know there's some people that they would miss their exercise, especially lifting in the gym, if they did a 7-day fast. And what I tell those people is, okay, you can still do it, but just know you're setting yourself up for hunger. You're setting yourself up for not feeling very well, because your body at that point does need nutrition to help in the building and the repair of the muscle. So it's better if you look at the 7 days as kind of a rest period for your physical activity, the exercise, and instead focusing on healing metabolism and lowering inflammation and lowering insulin and getting your body into a good state, so that when you start feasting again, you're going to be a beast in the gym. And let me tell you why you'll be a beast in the gym after a longer fast. What extended fasting does very well is it increases growth hormone. So growth hormone is a good thing if you're trying to grow muscle, okay? So those people that worry about, oh, I'm going to lose my muscle. No, you won't, because you've got ketone bodies that are being produced in the midst of a fast, and we'll talk more about that later. But ketone bodies increase, and it's that increase in ketone bodies along with the decrease in the blood glucose that's a muscle sparing effect. So you won't be losing muscle like you think you will. So if that's your concern about why you think you need to be exercising, lay that one aside. I don't think you should be exercising glycolytically demanding in the midst of fasting. What I do think you can do exercise-wise is a gentle stroll. I think if you take a walk, it could take your mind off of not eating food. If you want to mow your grass, that's probably fine. If you want to do some kind of a play activity with your kids, that's fine. Just don't try to make this very hard. And if you're going to go to the gym and today I'm going to set new PRs lifting, no, you're not in the midst of a fast. So When you're fasting, think of it as that rest period. Think of it as you're actively engaging in some kind of therapy for your body. And in this case, it's healing your metabolism and lowering your inflammation and improving your gut health. All of those things are happening. And then when you get back to eating, you slam it in the gym. I mean, you just go all out, and don't be surprised. I'm going to predict it now for a lot of you that regularly lift and you're worried about this. When you go back to the gym after having done a 7-day fast and you start eating again, you're going to set new PRs very quickly. You will. Anita says, I want to do 7 days and I will. Unfortunately, not able to. When you are doing it, can I follow along to catch the hints and help when I do mine? Of course, Anita. That's one reason that I'm doing this Jimmy Rants series is I realize not everybody, it's convenient for you to do a fast starting July the 5th. And so all of these, you guys, are going up on YouTube. Definitely go to jimmyrants.com. I'll have them all housed there. We embed every single one of these videos at jimmyrants.com so you can watch them. But let me hit on something you said, because you said, unfortunately, I'm not able to do it when you're doing it. And I had somebody earlier kind of chastise me. Why are you doing this on a holiday week? Nobody wants to do it on a holiday. And I said, thank you for your comment, but you're just making excuses. And quite frankly, guys, I'm kind of over the excuse mentality of, well, I can't because I can't go keto because I got a birthday party coming up. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I'm just so sick of that mentality. Those are the people that don't want to change. Those are the people that will wallow in why their weight and their health isn't where it needs to be, because they're unwilling to do something that might be outside their comfort zone. Okay, yeah, it's a holiday week. Get over it. I've got at my church on Saturday, I'm going to reveal this to you guys. At my church on Saturday, they are roasting an 80-pound pig. 80-pound pig. So I would have at my disposal on Saturday unlimited amounts of barbecue. Saturday. When are we starting this fast? Oh yeah, Friday. So my pastor texted me today and he's like, are you sure you want to start that fast on Friday? And I said, this isn't about the temporal pleasure of wanting to have that on my lips on Saturday. This is about my health. This is about leading by example. And I think we need to lay aside those excuses that paralyze us. You know those people in your life. They always come up with some kind of an excuse. Lay aside the excuses. Cookie says, okay, I work third shift. Do I start when I get up, or I am always jacked up with schedule? Well, work it around your schedule. We're starting on July the 5th. Now, technically, the last meal on July 4th, which for me will be around midday, will be the official start. So you start when you can. You start this. So if it's July 5th on the calendar, you're not eating at that point. So if you work third shift and your last meal, let's say 11 o'clock p.m. on July the 4th, then that's your last meal before you start. If it's July the 5th, you stopped eating. That's how we're doing it. Stephalophagus says, yes, bone broth kills me during a fast. Yeah, I get bad diarrhea and hunger. And I think it's the protein that just stokes that hunger. For me, the satiating part of a ketogenic diet isn't the protein. Protein gives me hypoglycemia and hunger. It's the fat that gives me the satiation. And so when you have bone broth, but you're not having fats because the fats have too much calories, that would push you into feasting mode, I'm becoming more convinced that so does the protein that's in bone broth. I think that's why people have such a detrimental response. Cookie says, I have a cookout on Saturday the 6th. I want to start with everyone, so it's going to be rough because I work the rest of the week until Friday. Well, you make that choice. If you choose to wait, I respect that, and that's great. But the people that say, well, you shouldn't be starting, you will never satisfy those people. And I'm not saying you're one of those people, Cookie, but there are people out there that will always have excuse after excuse after excuse as to why they won't start this. Maria says, I live in Canada. Where can I purchase a similar product to the sodium magnesium electrolytes? So Keto Chow is the only one I'm aware of that has this kind of formulation. Maybe noodle around on Amazon Canada and see if there's anything similar. Maybe go to one of your local, I don't know if you have GNC and Vitamin Shop types of stores in Canada, but go to those kind of supplement stores. They probably should have something that you could take, and definitely get you some Redmond's Real Salt. That will get you on the straight and narrow to get started. Should I use pink Himalayan sea salt and magnesium citrate? If you use magnesium citrate, you're going to get poopy pants. So no, do not use magnesium citrate. If you're going to use magnesium, get a magnesium glycinate. That tends to be the better one. Let me see what they put in here. The kind of, I thought it might give the kind of magnesium. It does not. But the salt, yeah, the salt comes from the Great Salt Lake. Yeah, I don't see anything on here about the source or the kind of the magnesium, but definitely not citrate. So I did Redmond's Real Salt. The only issue I felt was issues with real salt and the bathroom, and when I broke the fast, my stomach was hurting. So if you have bathroom issues because you ate too much salt, then back off on the salt. I think it is very easy to overdo salt, especially when you're fasting and you're trying to get that kind of satiation feeling. But the key there is not just the salt. Make sure you are hydrating properly as well. And quite frankly, I'm gonna throw it out there since you brought it up, Cookie. When you fast, you got all kind of gastrointestinal things that are, having to clean up and calm down. And so I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had some interesting bathroom stuff in the midst of a fast. Now remember, I've done 3 21-day fasts. You think doing a little 7-day fast gives you that. Imagine what happens like day 12, day 16, what's coming out. Yes, there's still stuff coming out. I know it's kind of gross to talk about, but it is what it is. Yeah, so just be careful with the amount of salt. And if you feel like you're having some of that, definitely extra hydrate. And it will help flush those things out, but it shouldn't be anything negative. Now, as far as your stomach hurting when you broke the fast, we're going to definitely talk about that. You can break the fast wrong, and so I'm going to give you a whole primer on that as we get closer into the fast. Towards the end of the fast, I'm going to tell you how to break the fast without having your stomach do and react the way that it did for you. I want to learn how to break the fast the right way, says Lee's agent. Yes. So in the midst of doing these daily updates, I'm going to do a thematic type of topic. And so one of the ones that I will do on probably day 6 of the fast is how to break your fast without breaking your stomach. I so need this. Thank you, Stephalopagus. It's been too long. Terry says, not having coffee will be my biggest obstacle. So Terry, if you want to have coffee, I mentioned earlier, do drink black coffee. Now the problem is that most people don't like black coffee. They want the creamer in there or heavy cream or whatever. That's going to stoke hunger. Black coffee should have 0 calories. And for most people, shouldn't be a problem. Now, some people do have a stimulant effect to their hunger because there is somewhat of an insulin response for some people when they go and drink some caffeine like coffee. So you could have decaffeinated coffee that might help with that would give you the sensation of coffee. But just bear that in mind, that if you get hungry shortly after having some coffee, it could be an insulin response that's coming from the caffeine in it. So have the water, salt, electrolytes all on hand, and you may not need the coffee. Tracy says, I completed the 72-hour fast, excited to do the 7-day. Wow, you're going to join us, Tracy, so soon after the 3 days. Good job. Tracy, I'm excited because you stocked me up with a ton of the Redmond's Real Salt, so I am not going to be without my precious elixir. This is the best elixir, guys, When you are on an extended fast, if you don't have a good quality salt, and please do not use Morton salt with the little umbrella, the little blue one with the little girl with the umbrella, you will stoke so much hunger because there's nothing in there but chemicals. That's how they make that salt. So table salt, Morton's is generally the big name brand. Don't do that. Get you a good quality one like Redmond's Real Salt. If you can't find this where you live or online, you will. But if you can't find it, pink Himalayan sea salt will work fine. This has more minerals. And see, this is the thing. When you're in the midst of a fast, your body is looking for two things very strongly. Water, because your body is dumping it. That's why you'll probably start peeing a lot more when you first start fasting. So don't be surprised by that. That's your body dumping electrolytes, dumping sugar, and you have to replenish those things. So the things that your body's going to send you signals to give it more of is water. Can you do that? And then electrolytes. So that's where the Redmond's Real Salt and things like the fasting drops will come into play. If we start a day or two after you all start, you will still be on after your 7th day. Yeah, we'll be on probably a day or two after the fast is over, because I want to hear people's experiences after they reintroduce food. And I'll talk all about kind of the dynamic of when you reintroduce food, what's going to change, how long it takes before you probably will go poop, because it's interesting after a 7-day fast, the length of time it takes before you poop again. So we'll address all of that later. I gave up coffee for the Feldman drop protocol. 2 weeks, I didn't die, says Stephalophagus. No, you will not. Tracy said Terry Black's barbecue was a religious experience. Literally in Austin, Texas, all I had was a pound of brisket a day. Give me a pound of brisket a day. I could probably live on that, Tracy, for the rest of my life. If that's all I ever ate for the rest of my life, this carnivore boy would be extremely happy and healthy for the rest of his life. CKS of 3 says, my husband and I both have a pound each of fatty brisket from Rib Crib. Nice. All right, Cry Royjo says, how do you figure out how much meat to eat for OMAD on carnivore? Okay, that's a general question. We're talking specifically about do's and don'ts of extended fast. Drop me a direct message and I'll be happy to answer that question. Yeah, thank you for that. AK Bonbon, what about your cortisol in the morning? Is it recommended to work that off? Why would you work off cortisol? Cortisol is supposed to be high in the morning. That is what helps you wake up in the morning. And so it's a very natural response. Sometimes people wake up when they're fasting, and in the morning they get those kind of moments of fleeting moments of, oh my gosh, I think I need to eat. At that point, I need you to Redmond's Real Salt the crap out of your mouth, because what your body, again, the body's sending signals. We interpret the gurgles and the bleh feeling to we need to eat food. What the body's telling you is it needs two things: water, salt, and electrolytes. Okay? So I need you to reframe the way you think about this. And I think far too often people end a fast too early because they think their body's telling them to eat food when it's actually telling them to nourish it with two things that are essential when you are fasting, and that's the water and that's the electrolytes and the salt. I do teach some classes during this, so I don't know if it would affect me. Oh, it'll affect you big time, Cookie. It'll affect you to the point that your brain will be so sharp, your students will think you are a superwoman. They will. Because I remember when I was promoting the book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, I was going on a series of podcasts, and I threw out there this idea that, hey guys, guess what day I'm on in a fast? I'm doing an extended fast right now. I don't know. Oh, it's day 12. And they're like, you're so lucid. I'm like, yeah, ketones, feeding the brain. So I think you're going to be incredibly shocked that by the time you get to day 3, 4, 5, 6, how good you feel. It's the weirdest feeling, and I'm definitely going to touch on this in a future video in this series. It's the weirdest feeling, but at some point in the midst of doing a longer fast like this, you get past those early few days, and we'll talk about the difficulty in the early days. You get past that pain of some of that little stuff that happens early on, and you get to 3, 4, 5, 6, you think you never have to eat again. I know. Sounds preposterous. What are you talking about? Trust me, as somebody who has done a whole bunch of these, it is the most glorious, magical feeling in your entire life to think you never have to eat again. Now, obviously you do, and obviously you will, but just knowing that all of these times when we think we need to eat because of the gurgles, even in the midst of when you're feasting and you've got these gurgles and you think you're hungry for food, I want you to turn to water, salt, and electrolytes first, because sometimes those feelings are exactly that and not food. And yet we feed it food. The body goes, okay, what is this? Okay, let's get I'll get the salt out, a little more. And then you get hungry again. See what I'm saying? So why not preempt it? Have the water, the salt, and the electrolytes ready. And if that calms down the hunger, then you know it wasn't real hunger. So much more I want to say about that. Is lightweights, high reps, not sure what I can do. You teach exercise classes. When you say teach classes, I thought you meant students. So if you teach exercise class, if you do some light weights, I mean, you're probably going to stoke a little bit of hunger because you're going to be sweating and you're going to be, producing exercise that would be a little bit glycolytically demanding, but not real. So all I can say is give it a go, see how you feel, and then reassess. CKS, will an infrared sauna yoga session be okay? Now, it should be okay. I've never done an infrared sauna yoga. I've done hot yoga. I assume that's similar. Just know replenish water, salt, electrolytes. I think that will help you with that. I'm hoping my body uses some of the loose skin for gluconeogenesis, says Caden Fox. I can't promise that. At one time, I didn't think I could fast 16 or 18 hours, says Val, because I was a type 2 diabetic. Now I do 18 to 20 almost daily. It's amazing once you get into this, how easy the fasting lifestyle becomes. And we're going to address in a whole video all about the myths, and people think, oh, you're starving yourself. In fact, this friend of mine, their mom told them that, you're having an eating disorder because you're starving yourself. And it's just such a shame the culturalism around fasting has such a negative stigma to it. And I would dare say if more Americans chose to do a 7-day fast, like Jimmy Moore is challenging all of you guys to do with a water fasting challenge, if more Americans actually did this and did it well, first they'd have to get keto adapted, get used to that, and then fast for periods of time, we would be a far healthier country. So I'm here to normalize fasting. Fasting is incredibly normal. Fasting is a part of my life and has been a part of my life and will continue to be a major part of my life for many years to come. And it's not just about weight loss. It's about all those amazing health benefits that we'll talk about here. Don't let their unwillingness to change get you down. Exactly, obesity doc. Just ordered the real salt. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Magnesium oxide might be okay. Yeah, magnesium citrate's the one that gives you the poopy pants. Magnesium oxide and magnesium glycinate. Those are the two go-tos. How much water with how much salt? As much as you need, Grace, Faith, Hope. I don't think we need to put any kind of limit on it. How true is that you drink half your weight in ounces? Yeah, just drink. Don't worry about all that. Jesse says, I might join the fast. Well, Jesse, you're a super fan of Jimmy Moore. You better. I can jump in for a while. Well, jump in as long as you need to. If you need to direct message me, you can do it here on Instagram. Can someone kickstart their keto journey with a fast? Nick, that's a great question. Nikki, that's a great question. Flip the script. You want to kickstart your fasting by going keto. Do you address supplements by chance? So I don't personally take any supplements in the midst of a fast because, again, it's a therapy for a limited period of time. 7 days seems long, but it's still limited. So I don't do them. All right. Cookie says, I get that as well. It is rough because my family's not keto. I have noticed while I'm fasting that when they are eating, I struggle, especially if I have to go cook or go to the store. Oh, man. Yeah, I've actually cooked for Christine some bacon in the midst of my fast. So, all right, guys, I'm running out of time. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. Check it out, you guys. I have all of these videos are being embedded there at JimmyRants.com. Come back here. We're going to be here with lots of encouragement and advice about how to do an extended fast over the next couple of weeks. We start on Friday, July the 5th. So be there, be square. So until next time, we'll see you then.